The story begins with a simple question that has puzzled historians, builders, and preservationists for decades. How did medieval carpenters create timber that seemed almost immune to time itself? Anyone who has stood beside an old Norse stave church, a centuries-old watermill, or the oak beams of an early English hall knows the feeling. The wood is still firm. The grain is still tight. It feels like it shouldn't be possible for timber exposed to harsh winters, moisture, insects, and daily use to survive intact for 500, 800, sometimes more than 1,000 years. Yet it did. And the reason isn't luck, climate, or the quality of ancient forests. The procedure itself was straightforward, repeatable, and done long before the wood was assembled. A carpenter preparing posts for a barn, pier, or house foundation would first strip the bark completely. Leaving bark on would trap moisture and invite insects, so this step was non-negotiable. The beam was then dried, sometimes for weeks. Once ready, it was taken to the hearth. A shallow pit was filled with glowing coals. The beam's end was placed over the heat with constant turning, preventing deep burning. Once the outer surface reached a hard, crack-resistant sheen, it was removed and rubbed with animal fat, tar or pine pitch to seal the char. This created a double barrier, carbon and resin. Posts treated this way could sit in damp soil and resist decay far longer than raw wood or modern pressure-treated lumber. Historical structures prove how effective this technique was, even in brutal climates. Archaeologists studying Viking wharves, medieval bridges, and early Scandinavian longhouses repeatedly find evidence of heat-hardened posts. These timbers remained intact in conditions that would destroy untreated modern lumber within a decade. In Norway's stave churches, the lower beams, closest to ground moisture, often show traces of this treatment, which helps explain their survival through centuries of freeze-thaw cycles. Even medieval granaries used char-treated stilts because pests and rot couldn't get a foothold. This was not superstition or tradition for tradition's sake, it was engineering based on results. Modern builders can apply this ancient method with simple, practical steps today. A person building a small cabin could heat-treat only the ground contact posts. A homesteader constructing a raised bed could char the bottom ends of untreated logs to prevent fungal invasion. Even someone crafting tool handles can use a light surface char to harden the grain and make it more water-resistant. The procedure is the same in every case. Dry the wood thoroughly. Use coals rather than flames. Rotate constantly. Stop when the surface hardens, but before it cracks deeply. Seal with oil, fat, wax or pitch. Once applied correctly, the wood reacts exactly the way medieval beams did. It resists moisture absorption. Insects avoid it, and microbial decay slows dramatically. This forgotten method reminds us that preservation once depended on knowledge, not chemicals. Modern sealants work, but they break down under ultraviolet light, crack over time, and must be reapplied. Pressure treatment introduces chemicals people often prefer to avoid. Medieval carpenters built structures to last across generations, not decades, and their approach reflects that mindset. Their method fused chemistry, craftsmanship, and observation in a way that still outperforms many commercial solutions. By reviving it, we don't just borrow a piece of history, we regain a practical, low-tech preservation tool that anyone can use without specialized equipment. If you found this exploration valuable and want more deep dives into the forgotten engineering of past civilizations, make sure to subscribe to Relic Logic and share this video with someone who appreciates real historical craftsmanship.